This video will be a continuation of my part 1 video on perspective, which I recommend watching beforehand if you haven't already. Previously, I talked about 1 and 2 point perspective. Now we'll be adding in a third vanishing point. Placing this vanishing point directly below the horizon will make it appear as though you're looking down at a subject, whereas placing it above the horizon will make it feel as though you're looking up. You may notice that one plane of this box is larger than the other. This third vanishing point can make things appear foreshortened. Foreshortening being the term for when objects are close enough to the viewer or camera that they look much larger than they are in reality. If we were to look at this box from a mostly straight-on view, this is what it would look like. The camera icon here indicates where we're looking from in the 3-point example, approximately. Now to add a fourth vanishing point. You likely won't be using this sort of perspective very often, but it can help make subjects appear more dramatic. Here the box overlaps with the horizon, so we're looking both up and down at it, giving it an exaggerated and almost warped appearance. Here's how it might look if we were to draw a figure using 4-point perspective as a guide. 5-point perspective places subjects within a sphere, creating a fisheye lens effect, with the 5th vanishing point placed directly in the center and spreading outwards. You'll be using this even less than 4-point unless you're an environment artist specializing in more extreme foreshortening. I'm just providing a brief example here because I did mention it in my part 1 video. If you're looking to set up your horizon and vanishing points but aren't sure how, just start drawing something, like a head. If you've watched my video on form, you'll know that we can draw a cube around this head, making it easier to place in perspective. From there, continue these lines to see where they converge. This will reveal the eye level or horizon line. If you ever need to space objects equal distances apart, such as when drawing street lamps, trees, or the easiest example, fence posts, start by setting up your horizon and vanishing point. From there, draw your first 2 posts, deciding how tall and far apart you want them to be. Then draw a line that starts at the top of the post closest to you and have it intersect with the middle of the second post. Where this line ends will indicate where the next post should be drawn. You can then repeat this as needed. Here's how it would look with people standing evenly spaced rather than fence posts. Just like our fence post example, you'll see these figures and the gaps between them become exponentially thinner as they get closer to the horizon. This is known as compression. A good rule of thumb is that this compression occurs much more quickly than you expect it to. Also, notice how certain parts of the body, such as the collarbones, chest, and knees, line up with the perspective lines. Lastly, I'll talk about placing multiple figures within a scene. Just like in my video on proportion, I'm going to be saving myself some effort by using examples from Andrew Loomis's book on figure drawing. Similar to the example we just saw, these figures line up with their respective vanishing points, and the height of each is used to determine the height of the others. Here's a much more complicated scene. It may look intimidating, but it can still be broken down into boxes and planes. In conclusion, everything is boxes. Everything is boxes. Everything is boxes! Just like the exercise in my part 1 video, I recommend drawing a variety of boxes with visible vanishing points. But this time, do it in 3-point perspective rather than 2. You may notice that the way I've freehanded some of the lines here don't quite line up with the vanishing points. Technical accuracy doesn't matter too much, so long as it's accurate enough to look convincing, though I still recommend drawing directly to the vanishing points if perspective is still a new concept to you. For a more challenging exercise, draw a box in 2-point perspective, then try drawing a head inside of it. You'll want to make sure that the facial features line up with your vanishing points. Don't worry if this proves too difficult. I'll be doing a separate series in the future covering the human figure, which will obviously include the head. Lastly, try the spacing technique out for yourself, first with fence posts, then with other objects. Is all of this perspective stuff pretty boring? Absolutely. Is it necessary to understand in order to draw things convincingly in 3D space? Also yes. Perspective is like eating your vegetables. It's bland, but has a lot of benefits in the long term. Happy drawing, and I'll see you in the next video.